Yeah.
Bad boy.
But what's when I put my skin in it? Because this is what you're on about.
Where you can pull it down.
Yeah, I remember them videos we used to send us.
Yeah. Your skin, how it pours, and then that's when you know there's nothing there. But people just don't fucking. I wish I could walk around like that all the time. I'd be so fucking happy.
What weight was that? £200?
202, £203, that, yeah. And if I walked anywhere in the world like that, people would be like, what the fuck? But I felt like a skinny little fucking biff.
202 end of the night, he's lying to you.
Right, let's look at some great. Who's got...
That's what it says on there. Have we done 64 episodes? Have we actually?
No, we've done about 45.
So why does it say 64 then? Because
many of them fucked up, and then the episode with Dan, that all fucked up because the internet's, and then Dexter.
That was a good episode as well.
Yeah, there's been loads that have just fucked up, man. But it is what it is.
I just don't want to keep waking her up, not the noise.
Who's got questions?
I got some questions.
Is Daisy? Is Honey all right?
Yeah, she's just going. No, she's up again.
Daisy, why are you with this fucking idiot for? Look at him with his headset on. Absolute
big dick swinger. That's what it is, mate.
Big on picture.
That's it. Right, what have I got?
Liz, will you do me a favour and cut me a chunk out of last week, the one you've just uploaded as well, so I can put it on my Instagram?
Yeah, that's sound. I am recording.
Just screen record it on YouTube.
Look, when I do that, Riz likes me to do it properly.
Hilly screen records it and he fucks it all up and does a YouTube in the background and it fucking all looks like a wank.
I got a question specifically for Riz from Ben Moore saying, Riz, shall we do cocaine together and rant about the industry and do it on live?
Ben, your boy?
Yeah, because he's as angry as you.
On the what? On podcasts?
Yeah, on the industry. He says, can you do cocaine together and just rant about how bad the annoying the industry is?
Riz will be super chill on cocaine, I can imagine.
I don't do drugs, bro.
He'll be the opposite.
Wait until I get hold of him at our Christmas do that we're going to do. I'm going to ruin his life.
I don't do drugs. I only do steroids. That's not a drug. That's just...
That doesn't count. That doesn't count.
That doesn't count, bro. It's not...
Who's got questions, ends, boys?
I've got questions. I've got 3. How many have you got, Dick?
I got a few. Should I kick off?
Yeah, go on.
Thyroid meds and fat burners for females. Do you implement them differently to a male? I know the reason the girl's asking me this is because her boyfriend's a coach, so she's probably just asking. So, Hilly, do you do things differently on a thyroid or fat burner perspective for females comparable to men?
Repeat the question again, sorry.
Thyroid meds and fat burners for females. Would you implement it differently to a male?
Not particularly, no, because you're trying to achieve the same things. Both drugs are increasing output. So if I'm looking at T3 to stabilise the metabolism, because we know T3 levels drop as we diet, then I might put it in at the same time. We know clenbuterol, and we know these drugs have no virilization effects for girls either. So they are safe to use. So I would use them pretty similarly. Just in the clenbuterol would always be in a reduced dose. So with females, I'll usually start at 20 micrograms, and I'll actually start it quite far out because it has a slightly anti-catabolic effect. And I might go every other day dosing, then go to daily dosing, then go to up to 40, up to 60, up to 80, potentially cap out at 100 micrograms, depending on if you need to or not. T3, in terms of what T3 does to our bodies and the levels that we get, it's very individual, but it's no change between males or females. So ideally, you want to base it off blood work, but I'd be doing very much the same things, to be honest.
Rizwan?
I don't have enough female clients to even comment on it, bro.
Riz is racist. He only coaches brown men.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of L-carnitine in females if they're happy to inject, and if they're not, then acetyl L-carnitine in high doses. So remember, because I've got quite a few females that are females using some of the engineered products. And I don't know what it is, but they seem to struggle to get the injection technique right, or the bruise when none of us are bruising, or they have issues. So I don't know whether it's their higher fat deposits in areas or what.
I think a lot of the women are putting it sub-Q, yeah?
I think so. I think so.
And they're trying to bang a whole million sub-Q.
Yeah. Because I think the problem is that the benefit, the beauty of it is we can do it with an insulin pin. The problem is girls don't have the same muscle to fat ratios that we do to then use an insulin pin. So I think they really need to use a bigger needle to get intramuscular. And the problem is most girls don't want to use a bigger needle, which I completely understand. Now I think
it's hit and miss, bro, because honestly, the amount of females that buy our stuff is fucking insane, yeah?
Oh yeah, I'm just what I mean is for I've got 4 or 5 girls using, and half of them are fine. And like half of the jabs they do, and half they're not. So I'm adamant it's not going into muscular. So if you're not comfortable injecting, which I know a lot of females aren't, like I've worked with girls in clinical settings, medical settings, privately, and I very much understand that. And it's very rarely that I actually recommend any sort of injections. But acetyl L-carnitine at a higher dose, 1,000 milligrams a day, will work very well. If you're not, either alongside these fat burners, growth hormone, again, works great. But in terms of use, you will use less in terms of clenbuterol, because I do find clenbuterol hits females much harder than males in terms of side effects. But you can use, we can use it for longer. We just particularly don't need to, because we've got other things at play. Whereas for a female, if you can start the clenbuterol use at 16 weeks out and keep their food higher with a low dose every day protocol to bump fat burning up for output, it makes an awful lot of sense for me to do so. So
T4, all I do know is when we used it on D after all her health stuff, the T4 definitely helped. It brought a cycle back. It helped everything, mood, just everything, bro. I told Hilly the whole way what we were gonna do. 100 had to use a little bit more with D to get her to baseline. So 150 micrograms only puts D at that middle ground T4 level, yeah. But her periods came back, which she lost when she had chemo. She got all these things back just from taking T4.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing I'm just a little bit more cautious of with females. Is just, I suppose, is to get their own thyroid production back after use of an exogenous source. On that note, I got into like a little rabbit hole the other day on fucking PubMed and thyroid medication and T4 because I started using it. Now, I read a weird study, and it was in older people, okay? And to summarize or conclude, what it basically said was that T4 can't convert to T3 where exogenous thyroid is used. So if someone is using T3, it cannot convert to a higher amount from T4. Now, I then started going into like on YouTube and that sort of stuff, and obviously it's contradicting everywhere. But this is one of the PubMed studies. It was on. It was particularly for people with the age of like 50 to 65, I think it was, untrained people. But ultimately, what they said was that using exogenous source of T3, thyroxine, when including an additional dose of T4, it can't convert to T3 because your endogenous thyroid is suppressed.
Well, that would make
the conversion mechanic doesn't work because it's not actually functioning.
That would explain if that's true. Well, if that's true, well, you see, so without waffling too much and going back to anecdotal and what everybody always did, Dan Duchesne and some of the cleverest people in bodybuilding from years ago knew more about the body than any of us fucking do. That's a fact, right? None of them motherfuckers ever included T4. They always went to T3, right? T4 was never included in a fucking prep up until 5 or 6 years ago. No one fucking bothered with it. And yes, John Jukes put stuff out about the benefits of it and yada yada, but I have never looked into, because I just never presumed that it would, what you want about Deck. But it would be interesting if a lot of the older school people who were very clever knew that, and that's just why they never included T4. Because for us, Riz, how many, particularly for me, the amount of times I look at people's bloods in prep and their T4 is way lower than I would expect, and they're on T3, and I'm always like, that shit doesn't really fucking make sense there. Like, when I've been off T3, my T4 is at 18, 19, or 20 on 100 micrograms. But when I'm on T3, funnily enough, when I'm in a prep and I check it, it's only ever 14 or 15. So we automatically bump it up, don't we? Yeah. But I wonder if the reason that we're seeing it low...
It can't convert.
Because it can't convert. That would actually make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it was just interesting. I was just reading it, and that kind of makes sense to me with in the same when we kind of suppress our own HPTA. It's the exact kind of same mechanic, isn't it, or pathway to a degree.
But then on the flip side to that, the specialist endocrinology clinics that prescribe
T4 now,
well, thyroid medication for people that have had thyroid cancer or the thyroid doesn't work, as I always say, they do use
T4.
Well, they use a mixture of
Use
T3 and
that-
T4.
Yeah.
Armithyroid. They use armithyroid. So their go-to drug is armithyroid in every other country but here, I gather.
But that would make sense, wouldn't it? Because what they're not trying to do is get T4 to increase to a higher amount of T3. What they are doing is mirroring a T4 level with that medication and a T3 level. So they're double ending it. But we increase the T4, don't we, to convert to the T3? Or that's why we used in theory. But maybe we're just best at just escalating both at the same time.
Well, I mean, Scott Stevenson, I say this every time I mention him, is arguably the cleverest person in bodybuilding. The fucker never had me. The fucker never had me take T4.
All of my first preps, really, we never used T3 for the first 3 shows. T4, they use
No,
T4.
no one did. No one ever used to use it. And my argument and my common sense part of me was like, listen, for what we want in terms of fat loss, we need a higher T3 number. The T4 number is fucking regardless. It's your T3 number that controls your metabolism and your body's natural, well, not natural, but your body's output at steady state, right? So we want to drive T3 up. If we're taking 50 micrograms of T3, that puts us at 9 fucking or 10 T3 on the scale. What T4 we're taking is irrelevant. Now, if I remember rightly, the post that John Jewett put, T4 has other mechanisms within the body.
With growth hormone and IGF as well. Yeah, I seen that.
I was just going to say, do you think that the whole T4 thing came about after growth became a lot more popular? Because think about it, back 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, who the fuck was using growth? Not that many people. Like, growth became more popular, like, more recently.
It's a lot more mainstream now. It's more easily
But even so, people at a high bodybuilding level have still always been using growth for a long time. And if you look at any cycle ever posted in Professional Muscle, on Intense Muscle, in the magazines, on boards where people copy and paste, there was never any T4 in the fucker. Never. You would see high doses, like on Professional Muscle, those motherfuckers would take T3 up to 125, 150 micrograms.
Yeah.
And for many years, that was the norm. 100 microgram T3 dosing was the norm. Like, no one would blink an eye at it. Now everybody's a little bit health conscious about it and blah, 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 which again, I don't really understand. Because it's like people will take 1,500 mega testosterone or 600 mega trenbolone and justify it. But where's the negativity behind taking 100 micrograms of T3? Apart from you burning fat at a rapid rate, once your thyroid shut down, the body doesn't know if you're taking 25, 30, 75 or 100.
It's because of heart rate, isn't it? Because it raises your heart rate.
No, he was
only in very, very high dosages. Like,
that's what I'm saying. So if you're taking like 150,
I don't think 125 or 150 would have anywhere near the effect on your heart that smashing Clenbuterol and all the pre-workouts people take and that does at all.
Yeah.
And I definitely think after reading it, there's a place for T4 if you're not using T3. That would make sense to me. Obviously, you're trying to ramp that number up to increase a higher T3 output, which is kind of what we're speaking about. But it was just interesting to read. I think maybe we just missed a trick. Obviously, it works for everyone. It works for everyone.
Yeah, but Riz has seen, and others have seen, where they've increased T4 and they have seen a better fat loss output, haven't you? So therefore, there's merit that it must be doing something.
I'm in the school of, if something works when I do it, I don't need to know why it works.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah. Back,
I just need to know what it makes you leaner, so I'm gonna use that.
Yeah.
In a bit.
Next question.
It said the first question is only just found your pod guys from Riz's products. Love it, boys. Keep it up. It's what bodybuilding needs. This is from that AW Muscle and Fitness guy, the guy who owns that gym that Sass trains at. And he said,
he's sick.
with all of you, and okay, he basically said, with the engineered products, what are the best ones to use and what combinations do you guys like? How do you use them and what dosages?
I'm not gonna answer because I'm just gonna be biased.
I'll tell what I'm doing. I'll say what I'm doing now because obviously I've changed it up a little. But I'm telling you, I don't know. It's the introduction of the T4 and using a much higher amount of L-carnitine, which I don't have now because Riz sent me a smash bottle. But I'm telling you now, there is something that's still happening, which is very similar to when I'm in a prep setting. Every time I eat a meal, I am rapidly burning up. I can tell my body, my carbs are now around 1,100 grams of carbs a day, and I'm not getting any fatter. I'm just getting fuller. I'm definitely getting rounder. it's definitely helped for sure. So I'm doing 500 milligrams of L-carnitine in the morning with my GH before a bit of fasted cardio. That's 20 minutes. Pre-workout, I use the turbocharged V2, and I pin again a meal, which is 500 milligrams of L-carnitine, and I do that at site that I'm training. So I'm training lats, chest, or whatever. I'll pin it in the muscle that I'm training. I see a massive benefit from this. And then I do 500 milligrams of L-carnitine pre-bed again with another dose of GH. So two I use the GH in the morning, two I use pre-bed. I'm using the turbo sleep stuff, which is fucking fantastic. Just to caveat this with everyone, because I've had a few questions around it. I don't think that product in itself is a thing that's going to put you to sleep. It's not going to help you go to sleep. I don't think it's improved my tiredness at any point. But I'm telling you now, when I get to sleep, I'm definitely having deeper sleeps. I feel more refreshed. And I'm having some really weird fucking dreams off the back of it. And of course, I use the pump product daily every time I train. And I use the Turbo Drive with a little bit of caffeine from Rob Taylor's pre-workout. I don't have prolactin issues, so I don't use a Turbo Golin. Yeah, but that's how I run mine.
I take the twin turbo every morning before cardio. I'm huge. I would actually say that's my favourite product from everything, because without a doubt, doesn't give me any pip. I notice that I feel more alert. I sweat more. I feel fitter during my cardio. It is in my opinion the most impressive product.
Where you putting it?
Sorry,
Where you putting it?
I put it in my ventral glute on the morning.
Is this the choline one?
Yes.
Stings me like a bitch, that does. But then I was
Yeah.
really intramuscular, yeah. I was doing it sub-Q. Yeah, I was doing it sub-Q, sorry.
Bro,
So-
the formula's improved.
Yeah, the latest one. I used to get a bit of stingy of some, and occasionally I will. So I don't know whether it's when you've got some scar tissue, it stings into the scar tissue or whatnot. But in my ventral glute sound, just it breaks me. The energy boost that I get from it, and how my cardio is, and how much I sweat is drastically improved. It's one of the only products where I've seen an instant thing from something.
Yeah.
I take turbocharged pre-workout. I don't pin it locally because I just don't like to. So I just pin it wherever I decide to do. So usually it goes in one of my pecs. And I use the pump product with trained by JP Prepare Pro, because it doesn't give me any upset stomach at all. So I'm a huge fan of that. And then what else do I use? Oh, turbo growing. And I have several of my clients use that because I do have slightly elevated prolactin, and it controls it perfectly with one cap a day. Hilly 10 for discount. Don't use Dex.
Yeah, don't use Dex. Don't listen to Hilly. Also, just to note as well, the Focus product is arguably, and I'm not just gassing Riz up, I think he's an idiot, but that Focus product is literally one of the best I've used. I've even been using a half scoop in the morning with my AM drink, and I just find concentrated at work, that sort of stuff, just a bit more level-headed. So it's a fantastic product, and I would advise.
Chuds, I need to send you that one, Chuds.
I would advise using it for sure.
What's that?
The Turbo Drive.
It's like a Focus supplement.
Non-stimulant pre-workout.
So the pre-workout that you sent me, I've been using. You know what? Like I said, at the minute, I'm trying not to use anything like that, because even just pre-workout, just because I want to give myself a little bit of leeway to kind of have like progression, so I can like add L-carnitine later on. I can add the turbo pump. I can add the twin turbo, because I've used all of them, but I don't want to use them right now because I don't feel like I need it right now. The pre-workout, I've actually used it once just to see what it's like, and obviously really good. But at the minute, like, I don't feel like I'm there yet where I need it. I've actually given a scoop to a couple of mates of mine. So the guy that owns my gym, I brought the pre-workout. I said, take a scoop, try it, see what you feel like, how you like it. And a couple of other mates, they've obviously rated it. But I'm going to start using all of that again. But again, like, at the minute, I just don't feel like I need it.
The funny thing is, I always say to D, and I say to everyone, the Twin Turbo is like the best product, in my opinion, in the engineered range when it comes to cost effectiveness. Yeah, it can be used pretty much whenever you want, and it works so well with that choline. But everyone wants to buy the turbocharged, which I understand, because the pre-workout's always going to sell better.
Yeah.
But I use the Twin Turbo myself in the morning for cardio.
I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
And I used it. But if I say to everyone, look, if you're strapped on money and you want the most bang for your buck, just buy the normal L-carnitine. It's the most versatile.
Yes.
You use it, and it is generally going to be. It's one ingredient. It's going to be the most less
Pippy.
least painful because it's one ingredient, yeah, and there's less likely shit to go wrong as well.
Yeah.
That's just my
No,
honest
just
opinion.
as a side thing, like with your fasted cardio, I would all because the gym's literally like a pill gym. It's like 5 minutes drive. But do you not have a like cardio kit at home that you
Yeah.
do it at home, or like what do you do? Because
I've got a bike next to me and a treadmill.
Yeah, I've got a treadmill in the garage.
I've got a
Yeah.
treadmill downstairs.
But for a long time, I used to drive and use the gym at 5 or 6 o'clock for a long time in my other house because there was no space for one. And then when I was getting deeper into prep and I was waking up at 4 o'clock, I've got a weighted vest on, as most people know.
Yeah.
Because I would put the weighted vest on and walk the streets because, you know, when you fucking, if the gym didn't open until 6 and I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, I can't just sit here for 3 hours and stay at the fucking ceiling. So I'd be off.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I thought about getting some cardio kit because the gym is literally not even 5 minutes. It's like 2 minute drive. But I can't be asked to drive to the gym. You know what I mean?
For me, there is nothing better than getting up on a morning, opening my garage and getting on that fucking treadmill. The only thing better was that many years ago, I used to go out with this girl and we put a treadmill at the bottom of her stairs so I could fucking roll out of bed, walk down the stairs, and if I stepped off the bottom step long enough, I'd be on the treadmill, bang on the iPad, and I was in the house in my fucking pajamas and that. Whereas the only downside is the garage is fucking cold in the winter, like Baltic. But better than walking the fucking streets like I used to, because I've seen me out in all sorts of weather, walking the streets, like all sorts of weather. But needs
It's not the same though, is it? Steps is not cardio. Do you know what I mean?
No, what I've been doing recently, and I've actually had benefit myself. I spent a lot of time in the house. I was doing my cardio in the house. I was doing the packing in the house, the work in the house, coaching in the house. I actually prefer to take Turbo for a walk, and I actually get quite out of breath. So I just
But that's what I do, especially the off season. Like if I'm say doing, like I always keep cardio in. So I'm doing 30 minutes. I'll often do 15 minutes on a bike to get my heart rate up. Like, and I do go nuts on it. And I watch a bit of the podcast, and I'll make sure I'm ready and my headphones on. Then I'll blast straight off another 15-minute walk, normally with honey around the block or whatever. And that's like my morning done. It's a bit of both, you know.
I'm a
Craziest quad pump when you do the bike.
Yeah, but I'm telling you now, it keeps my legs fuller, without doubt.
I never had any quad loss with the bike ever.
No.
I'm gonna get another bike again.
But I don't do it on because I used to be a bit of a nightmare for having quite a hard setting. I don't have much tension on it at all anymore now.
I can't use the bike. My quads just blow up instantly.
Yeah, that's
Fucks me.
800 inches wide.
Yeah, but I'm actually a big fan of using the weighted vest, particularly. Yes, in the later stages of prep, if you have to do your cardio outside, but I think there's a lot of merit to using it as you start pushing up because it's getting your body adapted to walking about 22 pound heavier. So as you gain weight, your body will adapt to that weight and you will hold it better and be fitter at it. So I think there's good.
The weighted vest was actually the first piece of kit I ever had in my life. I've still got it, but I can't really walk around with one of them. Really, I'm not your skin color, my brother.
You'll be.
You'll be around in 10 minutes.
I remember when I first got mine, like fucking 10 or 12 years ago, and I got a different one. Because it was old school and it had loads of little packs of sand in. Looked like I was walking with a bomb on me. And I remember I'd be walking on at 4 o'clock in the morning with my headphones on, you know, the cable out. I thought, I'm going to get fucking shot here if I'm not careful.
The ones I've got, they've got little black blocks in them.
Yeah, you can actually get really expensive ones now where you can't even barely see them. They just go under your top on that.
Yeah. What's the next question? But if I do get a spin bike, Chudley, if you're going to get a spin bike, get one of them Kaiser brands. Is it Kaiser or something?
I don't know what mine is. Mine was like from Costco. Mine's a unit though. It's sound. It's heavy as fuck. You could move it. Yeah, it's heavy as fuck. It's a big.
What about getting one of them? Like the little walking treadmills. Like they're like.
That's what I got, a walking pad. Yeah.
Don't get what I got, but full size, motherfucker.
Yeah, Riz nicked his from Ilkeston Gym down the road.
Riz got one big enough to get a disabled person's wheelchair on it, mate. It's about this fucker. Who knows what it's for?
I bought my treadmill because it was on sale, right? For a business expense. And then Dee goes, "Did you measure it?" I goes, "No." She goes, "You dickhead, check it." I was out. She goes, "Where the fuck are you gonna put it?" But I couldn't even get it through the door.
Bro, I want to get one of those. I want to get one of those recumbent bikes, the Fat Man bikes. Bro, I love these things. Rip through calories, comfortable as fuck. The ones at JP's gym got armchairs on, plug my TV in. I'm chilling, bro. So next question. This is really funny actually because the person who asked the first question shouldn't be asking the second question. The first question says, how many milligrams of test do you do for your beginners? The second one for the same person says, how much milligrams should I run Superdrol for and how long? God, these people. So Superdrol, if this is your first test cycle, don't go anywhere near fucking Superdrol, you mad bastard. Look, Superdrol is fantastic in itself, and it is phenomenal for certain people. I am not someone that can touch it unless I'm very, very lean. I even tried to put it back in a couple of weeks ago. Within a week, I was having nosebleeds every day. It's weird though, because it's not my blood pressure, but it does something to me where I constantly have nosebleeds. I feel a bit lethargic and all that stuff. It does have a negative impact on appetite as well. So there is a place for it. I think if you're extremely lean, holding no fat, and you're trying to retain fullness, I think there's a really good place for Superdrol. And if you're a straight athlete,
When you're lean though, with a refeed, 4 bangs.
oh, bruh, mental. Just walk down like fucking 3D everywhere. Sick.
I don't like it. That motherfucking made me have gyno because he.
I am yet to come across anybody that can run it for longer than 3 weeks in an off season. Yeah. I do have a couple of guys at the moment that are able to run the injectable version for a bit longer, but literally I am yet to come across anybody in an off season setting that could keep eating after 3 or 4 weeks. Everybody just tanks them immediately. Pew, gone.
I thought that's just one of those drugs that you just use when you're lean.
Yeah.
I think there's merit, and I have done this with 2 people where you just use it 1 day a week on a weak body part, because it does have, it's a very, very strong drug. It has some very good merits. It works as a pre-workout. You're getting a big bang for your buck. It's just the toxicity it builds up. But but whereas I've used it, so say I've got someone with really lagging legs or lagging arms, we might create a day where they have just 10 mg or 20 mg of Superdrol, and they go in on the Lantus and the other stuff. And I find if you just dosing it once a week, you can get away with it for long periods of time.
Yeah,
I kind of feel like I'd rather use oxys if I was to do it that way.
I mean, I always keep a pot in my car in case I'm training with anyone really strong, and then I go just now 1 quid if I get in the gym just in case.
Just in case me, yeah.
Every time Hilly would come down and train, I'd bang loads of Halo.
Yeah, Riz shit bag. Riz would take his own fucking Anadrol and not tell us little shit.
Yeah, he did. Half of the fucking workout, prick.
Superdrol, Halo, everything. Just bang it before I go and be like, oh.
Not just that. I find Superdrol works well if you just add a bit when you're loading for a show. Instead of just putting it every day, just adding it in your load. AJ likes to do that. Yeah. It was an interesting thing.
And how many milligrams of test do you do for your beginners, boys? Newbies?
1 gram.
Nice.
What I do is I get the body weight and I times it in the special calculator that I got from John Jewett.
It's like 1 milligram per pound of body weight.
So I do that, and then I look at it and I think, no, that's gay, and then I times it by 4. About 300 milligram for the.
I think a lot of people should do that. Not a lot of people probably do that, but do your blood work before you start a cycle, right? So if you're someone that starts a cycle and your test comes back at 12 or like 15, then at that point you're like, right, if I bang in 200 mg, that will probably put me up high enough to where it would be a cycle. You know what I mean? Whereas if you're someone that's quite high, where's it gone?
The honey must be bad or something.
No, I'm just plugging my laptop in 2 secs.
If you're someone that's naturally quite high, then you're going to need more.
Yeah.
For me, it depends on the person. If I've got someone where they're trying to recomp, they need to lose fat, which is some people, usually the case, they need to be leaner with the first cycle. I'd usually go 300 test and either 100 Primo or Mast. Get the bloods done at 6 or 8 weeks, and then I can taper anything I want to do off that. If I've got someone that's in very good shape, it's got decent genetics, and like I just want to grow, sometimes I just put them on 500 mg test, which was always the bread and butter.
But did you not run 500 mg for your first cycle?
I did.
Yeah.
500 mg.
That's what I'm saying. So back in the day, we would all start with 500.
And you know what's interesting, Chudley, as well, and I've known about this for a long time, but Broderick did a post on it a couple of months ago, I think. There is some science that shows, and I can't remember the in-depths of it, but 500 mg has a different effect to muscle, something to do with the dosing. It has a better differentiating effect on something over 300 mg. That's why the 500 mg. Like, up until 5 years ago, it did not matter who you spoke to, what forum you read, what magazine you picked up. First cycle, 500 test. And the irony is that it still makes so much fucking sense, because as we keep seeing from blood work, 250 mg can put some people at 30 or 40, right? 45 if you're lucky. And I've said this on my Instagram, I've said it on Jordan's forum, I'll say it over and over again. In the reality, in the real world, if you've made the decision to risk getting an abscess, stabbing yourself in the fucking ass, lowering your good cholesterol, having any negative effects that come with this drug, why on God's earth do you want to take 250 mg and just put yourself 10 points over fucking normal? It is the stupidest thing in the world, in my opinion.
I've actually got a very good question for you guys here. And I was debating it with my wife downstairs, who doesn't really know much about this stuff. But,
Yes, she should leave you and find a new husband.
but she does. But she actually understood what I was trying to say. So, George Osborne, I like George Osborne. I think he's sound.
I fucking hate that kid, man. If he posts on Instagram once more time that he's addicted to porn, I'll choke him with a fucking dildo myself.
I don't follow him anymore. He used to train down parts near mine.
He's always been dead nice to me. His missus dead nice to me as well. They're good people to me.
I don't know. He is.
That's all I can go by.
He's annoying. He's all right. He's all right. It's just
right. He was like one of those little natty kids, and then he went on gear, and then every YouTube was, "This is how I brush my teeth on steroids. This is how I bang my missus on steroids. This is how I go shopping on steroids." It's just fucking tedious.
Yeah. But let me
which is understandable. I mean, it's clicks in it, but.
Let me get what I'm trying to say, yeah? So it's actually a very good point.
Sorry, Riss. Sorry.
So I was watching George Osborne's, one of his episodes on podcast or whatever, the other boys. And he mentioned how he's taking a 90 milligram a test a week. And I straight went to Dia and goes, you're telling me my man's turned his natural production off for 90 migs. I wouldn't even jab my dog with 90 mig, yeah? And then we listened to it, and he goes, yeah, but the thing is, I think, mate, George, mate, if you watch this, mate, which you probably won't, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I think he's trying to say was, his natural levels were so low that 90 would put him at, like, 3 times the limit anyway. So what he's trying to say is, well, if I'm on 8 NMR, and I take 90 migs, they'll put me on 30, which is actually 3 times my natural range. But then my argument then is, but why the fuck do I want to be on 30? I want to be on 700. Like, I want to be on...
Yeah, you want to be in a super physiological range. Why do you want to be in a physiological range?
Well, see, this is what I said a minute ago. Ideally, before you start your first cycle, you're going to test your blood work. And if your blood work comes back and your test comes back at 12, then you know that if you've jabbed 200 mg, that will probably put you up at a decent range to where you can make progress and class it as a cycle.
But what I don't get is, like, even when I pin myself now in my blast, yeah, and let's say Nathan tells me to do 100 mega test, 150 mega test every day. When I'm filling that barrel up, I'm like, yeah, well, I might as well just do an extra 30 meg because, you know, I'm going to jab myself anyway.
Bodybuilding match, always round up.
You lose a little bit in the needle, you justify it.
And if I'm going to break the barrier and I'm going to risk getting an abscess and I'm going to, you know, take a bit of time doing this jab, at least make it worth it. So that's just my argument. Like, why would you jab yourself with anything if it's going to be...
Yeah, but you've got to remember, he's probably using kilograms of a fucking test because he can't stop wanking over a porn or something, and he puts it on his fucking Instagram every day.
For me, it makes... For me, if you're going to take a drug, then you want the most out of it. And here's the reasoning behind the 500 mg of test, is that it puts you well into a superlogical dose, which will be different for all of us, as we know. For instance, 400's only been putting me at 60-something. I've seen 250 putting people over, well over that, you know what I mean? But 500's definitely putting you in a good super physiological range where you know you're going to see a bang for your buck. The other thing for me is, if you go and just put 1 ml of test in and you were on 20 and it just puts you at 38, right, you're not really going to see that much of a change. So then you're going to be like, well, this was fucking pointless. Steroids are fucking shit. For 2, like I said, if you're going to get the negative effects with something, do you not want the most of the positive effects? Like, it doesn't matter whether you inject, from what we understand, 200 mg or 600 mg, your HDL will reduce the same. There isn't really any variance in the stress on your liver, as we all know. The science shows, there was a study done, people took 150, 300 and either 500 or 600 mg in this study, if I remember rightly. And there was literally no significant difference in people's health markers. So come on, right? I understand that we'll start at 300 and work at 600. Sound. But if you've got somebody who's like, listen, I ain't about wasting the next fucking 10 years getting to where I'm going to walk to. Like, we know 600 mg's always going to work. I see the argument for the 6 weeks going in at 300 mg and then get yourself to the 500 or 600, because if I know I can take 600 mg and get no more toxicity than 300 mg, but I'm still going to get the same reduction in HDL, and I'm going to get the same chance of getting a fucking abscess in my ass, then why would I want to go in on half the... Why do I want half the positives and all the negatives? Makes no fucking sense.
I think people argue that if you start on 500, you would then have to do 600 and then 700. But that's not true. Because we know back in the day, we'll do first cycle, 500 mega test. Then guess what? Your second cycle is what? 500 mega test. Now you might put 30 mega debol for like the first 4 weeks, right? But apart from that, you're still taking 500 mega test.
And then if you're adamant on sticking with the 500, you can then do 300 mega test and fucking 200 mega deca. You can fuck about with that if you want.
Yeah, but once again, sorry to go a little bit off topic, but it's connected. Here you're saying that if someone takes 300 mg and they're on 30 nmol, then we should increase the dosage, right?
Yeah.
But we also know with your recent blood work, honestly, I honestly think all blood tests are fake.
If you're taking 300 mg and you're coming back at 30 and more, your gear is fake.
Bro, no, bro. Okay, listen, we have a case study, yeah? The boys have done a case study. I have done this, yeah? So
Right.
Hilly was taking 600 mgs of Pro Pharma test Hilly, what was it?
Test sip,
Yeah, 600 mgs. And his blood's come back at 50 nmol. So me, Deck, Hilly, we were like, fucking shit. Me, I went, it must be fucking wank, yeah? So I sent it off for testing, yeah? I sent MedTech, I sent ROM, I sent some profile, random shit, I fucking had you, I sent it all. And the Pro Pharma actually came the highest dose test out of all of them.
and
The exact same shit he was taking.
And I've been logging these people's blood works and my own blood works for ages, right? So this is why I always remind people. Last year I had 2 guys running pharmaceutical tests straight out of a pharmacy in Turkey. So we knew it was.
That was sus, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they were both taking the SUST, and they only got 35 and 37 from 250 mg. So then you're going through is that because they're jabbing once a week, or is this or that? So I was taking 20 mg of raw, and then 20 mg of maybe Pro Pharma, and I only got, I think it was 38 and 41. And then I went up to 400 and I was only getting like 58 or something. And then I bumped it to 600, but I'd only been on 600 for a week before I got the next one. And I only got 68 or 69, which sounds ridiculous. But when I've been up to 900 was only giving me 120. No, 120, I think 127. And that was with 2 different labs. But this is where we're coming to the conclusion that it must be a bit of bullshit with it. Like there must be something with the bloods that just doesn't make sense. Because I literally had 2 clients both running ROM test sip from a source I use, 150 to 200 mg. One got 69 and one got 87. So I was like, I rang my mate, I went, have you still got the same box that came out for me? He went, yeah. I said, send me some of them. I switched over, I only got 39. They were running 150 to 200, I was running 220.
But my argument here is, when you send your bloods to these clinics, why do they ask you, do you use steroids? Bro, your job is test my fucking bloods. Yeah. I don't need to click on that. I use steads. I use this.
But there could definitely be a degradation of the blood sample itself. We know that. So that could be it.
Bro,
or what it is the calibration of the machine that's being used.
Yeah.
Like,
no. I don't think it's that. Do you know what I think it is? They all use the same blood clinic who does the testing for them, yeah? I could do it for Engineered right now, yeah?
Oh, yeah, send it to the lab, yeah.
I send it to the lab. They then send me their result back. I then go on Photoshop and I input the data into my spreadsheet, yeah? And I think, oh, yeah, Dex sent me his blood. He sent me his blood. Oh, JP sent his blood now, yeah? The most anal motherfucker in the industry, yeah? I'm going to put his down as low. Put his down as low. JP loses his head. JP buys more gear. He does another test. I'm going to say it's really high this time. There's another one. I make it medium. Because they know we're going to keep fucking testing it, bro.
Well, I've been speaking to Jordan today about this, and Jordan was like, Hilly, me and you have known. Jordan was like, Hilly, I don't even know why you're still going around checking this. He said, I don't fucking even pay attention to my test levels. He said, as long as I see a lab test, knowing my gear is dosed right, I couldn't give a fuck what the blood work said. He said, me and you have looked at more blood work than anybody else over the last fucking however many years. He said, we've been going over these skew blood works and why the test is always never making sense for years. And Jordan went through a phase, if everybody remembers, where Riz is now, where Jordan was sending everything for testing, fucking everything. It was driving him insane. And he just said he got to the point where he was like, I want to look where my estrogen is and my prolactin is if I check. Apart from that, I'm not asked about the test reading.
Yeah, it's bollocks. It's fucking bullshit. I've spent £1,000 on this motherfucker.
Well, especially like we said, like no matter what the results came back as, I feel fucking fantastic on the Pro Pharma. Like I'm growing, I'm training fucking well, I'm strong. Like I feel good. My sex drive's through the roof. Like, do you know what I mean? It's doing what I need it to do.
Bro,
That's it, innit? It's how you feel. Like
the amount of people that message me saying, "Oh, bro, are you saying that rom's good?" I was like, "Well, bro, I've just posted the result. Are you thick?
Yeah.
Are you thick, bro? It says 301 milligram. You're asking me if it's good. Are you thick?"
Yeah.
People are so dumb. I tried to delete the post. It's starting to piss me off.
But in regards to the
everything
question
came
for
back
the
overdose.
newbies, I don't know what everyone said, but I'll just touch on what I do, and I do it basically the same with all my new clients. Is kind of what Chad said. I'll do bloods initially. It's stage 1. Get the bloods done, and then I'll normally run them on 250 meg for about 8 to 12 weeks. I'll get bloods done again. I won't take a break, and then I'll put them on the full cycle, and that normally would be an increase in testosterone and potentially an addition of, I don't know, MAST, EQ, or something along those lines. And I kind of follow that same process with everyone. And the beauty of it being your first cycle as well, you can elongate that process because you can recover much faster than any of us can that have abused our liver and kidneys repeatedly. So that's one way of going about it.
yeah.
So was that another question? By the way, just as a tad point there as well, Riz, was there any bad result from any lab you tested?
So I sent some test results, and it might actually be here right now. Let me check my email.
What did you test?
So I sent off bare random shit that we've all used over the years. So I sent off some medtech, and then one of Dex boys chucked to me some more medtech stuff to send in the parcel. Sent off medtech testy, EQ, Deca, Masty, Primo, and the Anavar. They all came spot on. The Anavar came at 9.5, which is totally sound. 20% leeway on orals is sound. Sent off the Pro Pharma test that came well high. The test E came high. The test SIP came high.
Basically, to conclude, Deck's always been right and never listened to Riz.
Yeah, and the ROM actually came high.
I was surprised
ROM
by
was
that.
ROM was actually the most closest to the milligram than any other lab.
Yeah, and it's not to slate ROM. I know they've been around for ages and stuff, but I have seen a multitude of crazy responses from ROM, and I've seen kind of similar to Hilly's scenario where I swapped them to maybe some different labs, say MedTech, and I've seen a massive improvement in blood serum levels. So that's the only reason I was surprised by that. But it just shows, doesn't it, in this day and age?
Because ROM's quite a popular lab.
Yeah.
People would counterfeit it.
Absolutely. 100%.
No, I don't think people count. I think people bash it for no reason. Other labs bash it because it is the biggest lab. It's like me trying to bash JP because JP is the biggest supplement brand. Do you know what I mean? It's easy to It's easy to diss someone who's the best. Yeah. But the Pro Pharma 25 mig Anavar came back at 20, but the 5 mig Anavar came back at 10.
So buy loads of 5 migs.
So you can tell that the labs are not trying to rip you off. They're just finding it hard to obviously get it spot on.
Yeah.
But there wasn't one bad result, was there? There was nothing badly underdosed.
Nothing was underdosed, which you'd be like, oh, I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
Anavar never came back at fucking D-ball or something stupid.
Yeah.
The Clen I'm waiting for, the T4 I'm waiting for, because I'd love to see
the Clen will be
T4.
interesting.
The Clen will be, the Pro Pharma Clen will be bang on. I bet my bollocks on it.
You reckon? I reckon probably well over.
Yeah, I actually think the most counterfeited or underdosed product on the market at the moment is clenbuterol.
I think so as well. There's loads of shit Clen about.
Yeah, loads of shit Clen, I agree. But the T4 will be the most interesting because UGL T4 normally is a wank.
Yeah.
And T3 is normally wank. So that's why I sent them. Because no one seems to test them. So we'll see.
Do you think it's because it's quite hard to get the dose right because it's in MCG? So
I think those particular pharmaceutical drugs are just harder to source.
And there's just fuck all profit in them for the manufacturers as well, realistically. The rules aren't cheap, and you can't sell them for a massive markup. I think that's the real factor for it. I think that's the honest reason.
Because you've got to bear in mind, most of the drugs that these labs buy, like Tren and fucking Masteron and Equipoise and that, they're easier to sort of get, and they're not mad fucking pharmaceutical produced drugs apart from testosterone. Whereas T3 and T4 sold in every country, in every pharmacy, everywhere in the fucking world. So then for UGLs, because bear in mind, in reality, to buy for these powders, you have to have a license for most of it. Now, obviously, there's particular factories in China that just make steroid powders, and that's their illegal business. But whereas trying to get actual T3 and T3 and that, because it's such a highly prescribed, regulated drug, and it's the same with fucking Arimidex and Novadex, a fucking cancer drug and shit, aren't they, right? That's why I say to clients, I do not want anybody using UGL, T3, T4, fucking, especially Arimidex and Novadex and Clomid. Those are cancer fertility drugs. They are tightly regulated and tightly sought after. So everywhere in the world, fucking people can't just be ordering that shit from China like they can testosterone or equipoise, in my opinion.
I was actually watching a podcast with Dave Crossland and the guy with the beard, I always call him, Broderick. And they actually speak about how everyone demonizes Arimidex these days, but how actually Arimidex is actually way safer than most of the other AIs, and it's actually safer than it's safer than Aromasin too.
That's why I'm a huge Arimidex fan.
They say if Arimidex people use it in cancer for 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, you try to tell me that's worse than Aromasin, which is barely used.
Yeah, but they put a child on 250 milligrams of Anandrol a day if you look at the pharmaceutical studies.
Yes.
So, like, you have to take everything with a pinch of salt to that side of things, because they're looking at specific side effects, not necessarily what we would look at from like a blood lipid level that would fuck up our training or our ability to grow muscle,
Yeah, but like what I think one of them said was, he said, what makes more sense? Me have to use all of this Aromasin to do the job, or I use
I agree. Yeah,
Arimidex Monday and Thursday, and it will actually do the job exactly what it's supposed to do.
Well, it's
Aromasin will pussyfoot around, and
but they're all suicide inhibitors though. Aromasin and Arimidex are both suicide inhibitors.
Yeah, but everyone bums Aromasin, don't they?
Yeah.
These days. Well, they was about a year ago.
Yeah, I think it's defined is like safer, isn't it? Less toxic or whatever.
But it's not.
Yeah, and it's like high dose Primo. High dose Primo will destroy your lipids more than fucking so Arimidex will bring estrogen down.
Where's that the conversation we had with Bulmer earlier? Like, I don't give a fuck what the studies say. I'm categorically telling you from what I've seen in anecdotal evidence, Primo is not optimal controlling E2 comparable to Mast in EQ. And it's not like I have a scientific study to prove that, but I can show you 20 fucking examples of clients' bloods where it's not doing what the coach thinks it's doing. Does that make sense? Oh, I'm running a grand of Primo, 600 amount of tests, and then assuming that your E2 is low, when I don't believe it's that effective.
What I find is Masteron doesn't seem to reduce estrogen like Primo does when Primo works to reduce it. What I do find is Primo has the most variance person to person on its ability to control estrogen. In some people it works well, in some people it doesn't. Whereas for me, Equipoise seems to bring everybody's estrogen down into a perfect spot. Like for me, 400 to 600 mg of test, all I need is 300 mg of EQ, and it has my estrogen between 80 and 100, bang in the middle. I can take my test to 750 and just the 300 to 400 mg of E2, and I'll be bang at the top of range. I need 1 mil of Equipoise to control my estrogen up to 750, 1.5 mil to go to sort of 900 mgs. Whereas I need what? 10 mil of Primo? Fucking love to.
Saving yourself 100 quid at the same time.
Remember like a couple of years back when like the EQ was like, people were big on like a gram and a half of EQ because it was like weak. Imagine them people's fucking estrogen.
But I think it's big in America. I still think they do run those 1,000 milligrams, 1,000 EQ cycles. Yeah.
Well, that's why America has the better bodybuilders, bro.
Yeah, well, that is in there. This is the biggest. Me going back to common sense all of the time. Where are the biggest and best bodybuilders? And I mean the most of them.
Yeah, America.
Yeah, and we've got a couple in England, but the fact of the matter is, Iran, places like that have some big fucking great guys, but America has the most. Yes, they're a bigger country, but they've got way more bigger fucking bodybuilders. All them motherfuckers, the tests up, the Equipoise is up, the growth's fucking up. Everything people have been doing for fucking 20 years.
Yeah, well, them English guys, they get coached by American coaches anyway.
exactly.
especially the bigger English guys for sure.
So with that said, I just want to ask you, Hilly, would you then take EQ to a gram?
Based on what I see in my blood work and what I see in others, I wouldn't unless I was jacking my test up very high, personally. Like, and that's what I was just going to say there. I've just seen Sass's decided to cruise, but Sass was going to run, I think, 13 or 1500 mgs of test with 800 or 900 mgs of equipoise, he was saying in his journal on Jordan's forum. So I've seen the odd person run a gram or mention that they have done. But in general, I've always seen sort of 6 to 750 equipoise with sort of a gram 1200 test, which sort of sits right to me. But I think I'd need 2,000 milligrams of test to balance out my estrogen on 1,000 milligrams.
I would. I was about to say I'd run 1,000 milligram of EQ. If I was to get 2 gram of test, that'd be the first thing I would do.
Bro,
Do you not think that would raise your RBC too much?
It doesn't seem to have an effect on my RBC, to be honest, EQ. And
bro, all steroids bring up your RBC. Even Skip Hill spoke about a recent podcast. He goes, I don't know why equipoise gets this credit for RBC. It's barely any different to any other steroid.
It's not. Doesn't make a difference, does it? I've never seen anybody's blood work that all of a sudden jumped up massively from equipoise when it was fine.
I've seen one client in 5 years, and that was an Asian lad who I coached. As soon as I put him on, and he felt ill me straight away within 2 weeks, headaches, high blood pressure, that sort of stuff. Got his blood
but did you see his blood before?
Yeah, it was definitely. But again, that's one in fucking 150 clients. You know what I mean? It's an anomaly, and he was of Asian descent, so I don't know if that's the thing, but yeah,
it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah.
Definitely makes same as Riz's liver values. We've discussed this before.
Yeah.
Like me and him have done the same fucking cycle. I'm out partying on the weekend. He's sat at home being a miserable fucker like he always is. His fucking ALT's at 300 and mine's at fucking 82.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I was gonna say I have done a full U-turn. DHB is a shit drug. I'm going to talk in absolutes, yeah? From now on, strictly test and DECA for the foreseeable future. I haven't got gyno. I don't give a fuck. I said to Jamie DeRigo last night, I went, bro, I don't have gyno no more. I don't have no tits. So I'm taking all the gear.
All the gear.
All the test, all the DECA, because it works. It makes
what did he say? Let me coach you and I'll charge you £500 a month.
And he was like, say no more, brother. Let me know how you get on.
Nice.
But the DHB,
talking about blood pressure, what do you lot use? Because I hate using Thyroid. I don't want to use it now. It's just, it's like, yeah, that's it.
I don't use anything.
It just kills my fucking gums. Like, I started using it again a couple days ago, and it literally straight away.
I just use JP's stack, to be perfectly honest.
I do. That's all I use. My blood pressure's up. Yeah.
You can use actually one called Losartan, which that's actually very medically used in the UK. My dad,
do you know what? That's actually what I used to do back when I couldn't get Arimidex. I used to use Losartan, and they used to come in like 100 meg tablets. So I used to half them, but you can just literally get that off the same place that I get my finasteride. So you can just get it on like online pharmacy.
Only as long as I take Jordan's health stack, the only time my blood pressure ever really goes above, 140 over 85, 86 is if I'm pushing over 235, 240, 245 pounds, which has been a while. I will push to that next year. But again, and I say this all the time, one of my first go-tos with blood pressure issues is hibiscus tea. Hibiscus tea, I've been using with clients for over a decade. If I see somebody's blood pressure spike, you put in 2 or 3 bags of hibiscus tea a day, brewed for 30 minutes, and it always brings it back down into a
Hilly, what's in the Turbo Dreams, big dog?
You've got hibiscus in there, don't you?
Yeah, 400 milligrams.
See?
And saffron to try helping beat blood pressure. Do you have another question that we can wrap it up?
Yeah, one more, and then I need to get off.
Yeah.
This is from Alexander. That's your Riz's club. Will you coach me because Riz is terrible? Nah, sorry, I can't do that to my boy. Nah, he said, is training...
Listen, you son of a bitch. I got your sword, bro.
Is training under tension imperative? Love that word. You see old school beasts like Ronnie just moving weight.
Well, creating tension on the muscle is imperative to build muscle, yes. Like, that's a scientific fact, I would say. I just think when you look at people like Branch Warren or Ronnie, they just have an ability to load the muscle and apply the tension or create the tension without doing stupidly slow reps.
Exactly. And I think if you ever train with like a genetic freak, you'll see it. Like the way they move load with I'll reference Jordan again. You watch Jordan do a fucking deadlift. There is no kink in his back. Like the second he pulls that he takes that kind of slack through his back, it is just perfect momentum all the way up and all the way down with fucking 900 million kilos on. The majority of people can't do that. And then the likes of Ronnie and stuff, with how much muscle they built, even though it doesn't look like they are getting a good mind muscle connection, I bet my left bollock that they absolutely are. 100% of those fibers are firing when they're rowing, squatting, chucking dumbbells around. Unfortunately, the majority of us just can't do that.
Well, that applies perfectly to that the guy that we spoke about before we got on here. You know, you can lift a ton of weight, but if you can't get it to go to the right fucking place, it doesn't especially for stuff like back, for example, because I think back, a lot of people tend to struggle to connect with the back. So I think for back is probably even more important.
Yeah, I agree. Especially the muscles you can't see.
With the back,
But physiologically, biologically, if you can't create tension in a muscle, it isn't fucking growing. Because for me to do this, there has to be tension in that bicep for this to move. Now, I could do this, but then there's no tension. But for a muscle to work, there has to, that when you tense it, that's the tension. That's why it's called tensing. Tension.
Yeah. I bet you though, Hilly, like say take legs for example, you could do anything, tension, train them heavy, train them light, they'll respond. That used to be me. I'll train legs, no matter how I train legs, they would respond. Now take my chest, that wouldn't be the case.
Well, Chubby, it's what we were. Do you know we were out doing cardio on the bike earlier? I can't get on a bike and do like a stationary fucking gym bike and do longer than 5 minutes. The pump in my legs is fucking nuts. I have to get off, and that is not that. There has to be a link between the fact that my legs are my strongest body part, because whether it's the amount of capillaries in the muscles, so the connection to the blood flow, whether it's my mind muscle ability, my mind muscle connection ability, but the pump I get in my legs doing anything is nuts, and they're my strongest body part because I can connect best with them.
But ultimately, train with tension, and I think intensity is the most important part.
And that doesn't mean that you need a fucking 9-second negative, a pause, and a 6-second positive to apply tension. You just have to make sure that I used to laugh at Kai Green's videos about mind muscle connection when I was young. I used to be like, mate, shut the fuck up. But actually, it's so important. But where people get confused is they think that we have to be going to get it. You don't. You just need to train your body to be able to activate it. And then when you're like someone like Jordan or Ronnie or fucking Jay Cutler or Branch Warren or even us now, you don't need to be that anal with your form to connect the muscle. And I'm sure Jordan posted something lately where there's scientific studies coming out saying actually having a super controlled negative isn't the be all and end all about building muscle. It's just about having a control, because Jordan doesn't over exaggerate the eccentric.
But I think with myself on back here, I can do back and do 6 exercises and swing it, and my back will be in bits.
Same.
If I do that on my chest, there'll be no pump. It'll go to my front delts. I'll get literally no progress. I think it's everyone's independent like to that body part.
Which is just because you can obviously connect way better with your back than you can with your chest. So it's just coming back to that connection thing.
Yeah.
And that's why always the same volume or training style doesn't work for every muscle group the same. Like if you're highly effective at training your quads as an example, you can probably get away with much lower volume. But I find with chest as an example, I need to do a lot of kind of, not intensifiers, but a lot of fluff to really get my pecs firing before I really start loading it. Otherwise, like you said, I'll get tricep and front delt.
Yeah.
Pre-exhaust.
Yeah. 100%.
I actually find like now what I've been doing a lot more is I'll do that towards the end. So like I'll try and get all the heavy stuff because I'm trying to get stronger again.
Yeah.
So I try and do less stuff, less of like pec decks and stuff like that. Pre-exhaust to begin with. I'll jump to the pressing straight away. I'll get all my like 3 different presses, and then I'll do like towards the end. I'll just fuck around with a lot more.
You see, I do that on legs, yeah. Since Hilly loves doing the quad extensions first, yeah. I fucking hate doing them first. They fuck my legs up. I rather do adductor first and take it to pure failure, and jump straight on the leg press.
Not a
Do
fucking
you not
chance.
find that
Not a
leg
chance am I
press?
loading my fucking knees without doing leg extension first.
But listen to me. I do the adductor, yeah?
Yeah.
Close it.
Well, you're
Closing the leg. Hey?
Are you trying to tighten up your fucking crotch area?
Yeah, so adductor because you're adding, and
Yeah.
abductor is because you're taking it away. My boy Ed told me that. So I do adductor first, and I destroy that, yeah. Then I do leg press. Remember that I'm doing 1 plate, a few reps, 2 plate, a few reps, 3 plates, a few reps. But my knees actually hurt less like that. And then I do the quad extension right at the end when my legs are fucked.
You know, range of motion, really.
Yeah,
There's no pressure.
you do it to and from, mate. It's not the same.
You all know for a fact, yeah? You all know for a fact, on the Cybex leg press, I cannot be out there. I go so deep, Cybex had to make me a new seat.
Yeah, but it don't matter if I get 10 more plates than you do on it. So like, you can keep your 1 inch drop.
Yeah, but you doing more weight doesn't make you a better bodybuilder, because that actually means you are shitter, because you have to use more.
No, it just means I'm stronger. You
have to use you have to use more load.
It just means I've exposed my muscle to more tension over time, so I just lift more weight than you do.
Pound for pound, I carry more muscle mass than you.
You are fucking daft, bro. Pound for pound, I'm 40 pounds heavier than you and still beat you in a pull-up competition.
Pound for pound, we're going to see next year on stage.
Deal. You're smoked.
Right, that must be us done because we're all hungry and need to eat.
I want to say one last thing about the leg training. Like, if I left the quad extensions till last, there's no chance that I could do them heavy enough to where I can shorten my quad after I've done leg presses and pendulums.
Why do you do it heavy for?
Heavy, but like I'm not like decently decent load, and I'm not stupid.
You're absolutely the point with a leg extension is it's a fantastic movement. And it's one of the only movements where you can't mirror on anything else, where you can fully shorten the quad. You do ultimately need your leg to be as fresh as possible to shorten it with the most load as possible. But like again, some people treat the leg extensions like an accessory movement. I treat it like a full-blown compound. Like, I go ham. It's one of my big movements in the leg day, and I destroy myself with it.
If your legs are fucked after the whole session, what you class as load or leg extension will be very, very small.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get the most mechanical tension or load on the movement where I can get my quad the shortest, not the other way around. Because like if we take a leg extension, let's compare directly what you said, the leg press. Yeah. Obviously, it might be only specific to me, but I have a hamstring and a quad day. Yeah. If I'm doing a leg press, that's going to recruit my hamstrings, my glutes, and my quads. When I do that first movement, I'm trying to warm my knees up, and while my leg is fresh and I can get my quad fully short, I want the most load on that specific movement because it isolates the quad only. Do you see what I mean?
Sorry, I didn't know you could warm up a joint. How'd you do that?
Easy. Get some blood flow into your fucking retard.
There you go. See, Riz is right again.
You can't be.
No, bro, listen. I don't care how wrong it might be on paper, bro. My legs,
it's not wrong. You're not wrong.
When I used to work with Hilly, he said to me, do leg extensions first. I used to think, fuck him, he's a wanker. I'm going to do him at the end, yeah? And my legs were good. My legs got bad last year.
What happened since then, Riz? Because they haven't been good this year, mate. What happened?
I was doing them first, you cocks.
You weren't working with me when you were doing that, motherfucker.
Can I also say, without sounding like an ass here, like there was a time, no offense, Riz or anything, but when I was squatting 2 free plates, I could do that. I could move into those compound movements first. But honestly, I squat 5, 6 plates now, or 10 plates on a squat machine. So I want to fatigue the muscle first, so I don't have to load my back, erectors, and that sort of stuff with 7, 8, 9 plates.
Okay, answer my question. Why have you got no hamstring then?
I've got a bigger hamstring than you.
Why have you got no hamstring? I never said it was bigger than mine.
I think my drop is probably like 4 feet, well, your body height.
And listen, you can warm up a joint because you've got synovial fluid in the joint, so you want some temperature in the synovial fluid, and you want it to become thinner as it warms, so it lubricates the joint better.
I also find a hamstring movement is better to warm the knee up than a leg extension, personally.
I was going to say, like, a hamstring curl is probably better than a leg extension.
Yeah. Since I've been doing that fucking abductor first, or the fuck whichever one it is, my knee pain, I don't get no knee pain.
Well, and that's what's important to you, which is the key point, isn't it? See, for
I can't put my feet low on a leg press. My feet have to be like a little bit high,
And me.
or I can't get full ROM.
So
All
you're
my leg presses are always hamstring.
That's your ankle mobility. That's not your adductor. Like I'm the same, Riz. Even with squat shoes on, I'll have my foot 6 inches up the pad ultimately because that's the only way I can get to full ROM. If I have them any shorter, my heel will kick off every time.
Yeah, I can't do it.
And the other thing for me as well, for my own personal training, if I don't do an extension first, I can't do anything else because my knees feel awful. But not just that. Like, what if you want to be a training geek? What Dex says is 100% correct. You want to be able to shorten the muscle with as most tension. But what I also found is, if I do a hamstring curl first and a leg press for the second, or if I do a hamstring curl and a leg press and a leg extension and then leg press third, I can't lift any more weight on the leg press no matter what I do. So the hamstring curl and the extension doesn't take away from my leg press. So if I do the leg press first or second and then the other ones, it does take away. So for me, logically, if I can get more work in, shortening in the shortened position, seated hamstring curl or laying hamstring curl extensions, without taking away from my compound movements, then it makes perfect sense to do that.
Yeah, but when I do leg press, I lock out at the end, and my leg is actually at the shortest range. So technically, I'm doing what you lot are doing, leg extension on leg press.
When you lock out your leg in a leg press, you can't contract the quad hard.
I squeeze it.
You can't because you're
Idiot.
loading the leg extension from the bottom and you're taking that load up to contract it. You're pressing out.
Listen to me, cunts. Yeah. When I trained with Ed Oldfield, do leg extension first. When he had me do them first, my legs always go to shit. When I do leg extension last, I can't look. I can rack the motherfucker, yeah. But for me, that is pointless. I'd rather go on there and do 100 reps, really low weight, and squeeze the shit out of it. My legs always look better. It must be because I've got better genetics. Anyway.
Riz, I've got a comparison picture somewhere here where your legs were twice the size 3 years ago than they were last time you stepped on stage.
No. But that's not accurate lighting, bro.
Fucking legs are half the size now, kid. Let me.
Hold on, chill. Let me show you this picture. Yeah? So, hold on. Let me find this picture, bro. So,
mate, we should film a BMS training session. Just so we have video evidence of Riz getting fucking smoked and everything.
Look how good my legs are here, yeah? Look how good my legs are there, yeah? And I'm doing leg extension last.
Is that post titty surgery?
No, this is before titty surgery. Well, that's probably why my quads are quite sweeping, your quads are quite blocky, boys.
I reckon, though, it's because you do enough volume, so then it don't really matter by the end, because you're like...
I honestly, like, take all jokes aside, the reason I don't like doing that stuff light at the end is I think it's very easy to make it become junk volume where it's not actually doing anything. Like, the muscle's done by that point.
Say my legs are shit, you fucking cunts. Look. Say shit, you fucking cunts.
That's the
Photoshop that, bro. I know what you're like. I'm going to send it to Goob.
I know Photoshop.
That.
Listen to me. My legs go shit when I do treadmill too much, okay?
So he buys the world's biggest treadmill for his front room.
This comes from my
story. You need to kill that. Riz, if we ever see that kid, we beat him up.
Yeah.
We punch him up.
Do you know what? This is one show that pisses me off.
No, I bet. No, and I was there.
I look at it and I think, what did I do wrong? I was like, this is actually like a Black Lives Matter sort of fucking thing I can do.
Where have your legs gone, man? Where have your legs gone?
But this is ages ago, bro.
That was fucking May this year, that.
That's what I had my guy know, bro. That's per account. But my legs have gone so much better already. What's that?
Just a massive hamstring drop that Riz doesn't have.
No. What you mean? Hold the fuck on. What you mean, man? Ain't got a hamstring drop, bro? What the fuck's that then, you cock?
I can't see it, bro. I don't know if it's your brown skin or the shadow, but it just looks like it's a flat edge.
Hold on, I'm trying to look for a picture of Deck where he's actually got abs in the midsection.
Go on here, do you want to see it?
You know that annoying thing when you've got like one hamstring that splits better, but then you got one that drops better?
Yeah, my right one, yeah. My left got all the detail. My right one drops way more.
Yeah. My right triceps better and my right hamstring's better, but I can't pose on that side.
Listen, there's a drop for you, boys.
Yeah, he got the leg
but Hilly, you
What you say?
That don't count. That's dream time. We
axed those muscles in, didn't we, Riz?
Yeah, listen,
cheat.
Hilly's not allowed to talk about legs because that's all he trains.
The rest of my body's fucking broken. That's why I can't train anything else.
That's all he can train, wanker.
Everything's fucking broke.
Hey,
I can't remember ever doing it in 7 years.
Riz, do you reckon my arm's as wide as your leg?
I
just wondered.
Okay, no. Listen, I can't wait to. Do you want the three things? If I ever beat you on stage,
Bro, it would never happen. You got beat by a gay dude with no legs.
Beat by a gay dude.
He post something with Barbie girl and still beat you, bro.
You got beat by a gay dude.
Listen, when I beat you both, when I beat you both on stage, I promise you, I'm never ever going to let it down. I'm going to retire that day.
Beat by a gay dude.
I'm going to retire. They say, listen, I retired. I beat my 2 boys. I don't need a pro card. I'm finished.
I'm out. Right, let's go and eat, boys. We're done.
Love you all.
Sweet save.
Thank you all for watching. Where am I?